See this? Take a good look at it. Go ahead. Enjoy it and all of its grainy, standard definition greatness, because chances are you will probably never see this again. This, my friends, is the 1991 NBA Legends Classic during All-Star Weekend. It was an event that the NBA put together for old-timers to lace up and get back on the court again. Only this time, they are old, out of shape, and it is basically the greatest thing ever. The NBA did this for years, actually. I was born in 1994, so not only did I never get to witness these epic games, but I never even heard about them until a few months ago. I mean, just look at these lineups. This is amazing. How many people can say that they watched a 53-year-old Oscar Robertson battle it out against a 58-year-old Sam Jones? Not only that, but check out these rules. A 24-minute game, running clock, no bonus fouls, and in the event of a tie, the first team to score wins. It's madness. It's barbaric. And it's awesome. Too bad we'll more than likely never see anything like this again, since the NBA doesn't plan on bringing this event back anytime soon. I'm not sure why, I don't know about y'all, but I would pay good money to see Shaq and Kobe pair up again, or watch Magic and Bird duel it out one last time. And although we won't get to witness any of these moments, I think we can all agree. All-Star Weekend has been a bit lackluster over the past few years. Yeah, there are some highlight moments here and there, and it's not like players aren't putting on a good show, it's just that we've seen it all. How many All-Star games do we have to watch crawl along with no defense for 40 minutes just to get all ramped up in the final moments as the teams decide they don't want to lose? How many dunk contests must we sit through before we come to terms with the fact that we've pretty much seen it all? Don't get me wrong, I've tuned in every year since I was a kid, and I always will tune in, but I gotta say, it can definitely be better, and NBA Commissioner Adam Silver thinks he has a solution. At the Sloan Sports Analytics Conference at MIT a few weeks ago, Silver addressed the issues surrounding All-Star Weekend and, more importantly, the 82-game NBA schedule. The past couple years, the league has switched things around to a captain system for the All-Star game, and overall, it's been a great decision. Watching Giannis and LeBron chirp at each other while handpicking the best players in the NBA is definitely something I thought I'd never see, but even Silver himself said it was like, and I quote, putting an earring on a pig. In other words, the captain system was just a short-term solution for a long-term issue or issues. All-Star Weekend was created to serve a few purposes. First, to entertain the fans, second, to grow the NBA's brand, and third, to give the players rest and get them ready to go for the second half of the season. Except, All-Star Weekend was created over 60 years ago and basically serves none of these purposes anymore, or at least not to its full potential. Fans aren't really entertained, the NBA's brand is now well established, and players are not getting the rest they feel they need. And the numbers speak for themselves. TV ratings on All-Star Saturday and the All-Star Game are at an all-time low. Out of the 27 NBA All-Stars this season, the average amount of games missed throughout the season was just over 10, or about 13% of the season. The best players in the league are, on average, missing 13% of the season. Now, whether these games are missed because of injury recovery, or simply load management is beside the point. Players are missing a lot of games. On the sports talk show Speak for Yourself, Steven Jackson, a former player who is sick of current players needing more rest and games off for load management, made a point that MLB teams play 100 games a season, far more than the 82-game NBA schedule. I mean, although the number of games he threw out there is an astronomical 62 games short of the actual number of games MLB teams play, he made his point nonetheless. On that same show, Marcellus Wiley made a great point about All-Star Weekend as well, saying that before social media platforms, players used All-Star Weekend to boost their public image, to connect with fans, to push a new shoe out to the public. This is what Michael Jordan did with the dunk contest and his signature shoe. I mean, come on, look at the man. If I saw a guy fly like this in 1985, I'd have no choice but to cop a pair myself. But the world has changed. We're talking about a 50-year-old regular season format and an even older All-Star Weekend format. Now, this may just be a perfectly balanced, timeless way to go about the regular season, but consider the fact that everything around us in society is constantly changing and shifting. Shouldn't our sports reflect this same reality? Adam Silver thinks it should. And his solution: a preseason, mid-season, and postseason one-and-done tournament. Imagine combining the NBA playoffs with College March Madness, a crazy one-and-done tournament during All-Star Weekend, a basketball cup. If you're a fan of a team that hasn't been doing well in recent years, you know how easy it is to check out mid-season, when things are looking bleak and the playoffs are becoming less and less of a reality every day. And for the rest of us, you're more than likely tired of the same old All-Star Weekend. We want something new, something different. How awesome would it be to shake things up and watch a one-and-done tournament of the NBA mid-season? It gives fans that have checked out a reason to tune back in and get behind their team, and it completely changes up All-Star Weekend. Now, you're probably thinking, isn't this just the playoffs but in the middle of the season? But it is actually far from that. How did the Warriors look mid-season this year? How did the Rockets look? You see it all the time in March Madness tournaments. Teams that have no business beating a higher seed, not only advancing to the next round, sometimes they find their way to the Sweet 16, Elite 8, and even the Final 4. In a 7-game series, the better team wins almost every single time. But in a one-and-done tournament, anything is possible. It would stir up the monotony of the regular season, and I think it would do a better job of this than All-Star Weekend does. What would the winner of the tournament get? Well, Silver isn't quite sure yet. Maybe some sort of home court advantage or seeding in the playoffs. Maybe just a shiny trophy. What do the fans get? A 3-day tournament of madness, excitement, and endless possibilities. Now, if that isn't crazy enough, Adam Silver also suggested having an end-of-the-year tournament for, you ready for this? Draft picks. Yes, Adam Silver is seriously considering having an end-of-the-year one-and-done tournament between the worst teams in the league to decide the rights to each selection in the draft. Winner gets first pick, second gets second, and so on. Now, I know this sounds crazy at first, but hear him out. Imagine you're a Knicks fan, Bulls fan, or a Suns fan. Every year, you're relatively at the bottom of the league. The only improvement your team has in sight is a draft pick, and you're really looking forward to that draft pick. But, oh wait, the league has adjusted the draft lottery to deter teams from tanking, and now even if your team has the worst record in the league, your odds are still only as good as the second and third worst teams. Oh, great. Would you look at that? A team that only had a 6% chance of getting the first overall pick got it. In fact, since 1985, when the NBA lottery was implemented, only 6 teams with the highest odds to get the first overall pick actually got it. I mean, think about it. The NBA is a multi-billion-dollar operation. Individual teams themselves are multi-billion-dollar operations. And we are allowing a ping pong ball to decide the fate of these organizations. So what if instead of using this outdated and inefficient lottery system to determine the draft, we allow teams to play for it? Worst team in the league gets the worst seed, and for example, the 8th worst team in the league gets the best seed in the tournament. You take the 8 worst teams, throw them in a one-and-done tournament at the end of the year, and watch the madness unfold. This system would not only stop teams from intentionally tanking, it would also incentivize teams at the bottom of the league to keep winning at the end of the season to get a better seed for the tournament. It takes the ambiguity out of the draft and, again, gives the fan bases of these teams something to get excited about at the end of the season. Now, all of these changes would only work if the NBA also changed one last component of their season. Along with these tournaments, Adam Silver says he wants to shorten the NBA season by 12 games or 15% of the entire season. He feels that this will not only help with injuries, it will also prevent players from sitting out due to load management, and it will help give each game a bit more importance. The NFL has 16 games. Each game is vital. Major League Baseball has 162, many of those games being insignificant. Less games, more value each game holds. Now, shrinking the season by 10% changes quite a bit. What do you do about records? Do you keep things the same, or do you make a completely new record book for 70-game seasons? Also, shrinking the season by 15% would result in players getting paid 15% less. And I am positive no player is signing up for less pay. But Adam Silver is a smart guy. He is very intelligent when it comes to human behavior and numbers, and he knows that a change could mean well for the league.
I think we have to step back again collectively as a league working together with the players and their union, and decide, do we have the right number of games? Because, again, the game has changed in dramatic ways, especially over the last decade. And if players can't fairly play in all those games, maybe the schedule's too long. Yeah. And maybe we got to take a fresh look at how we structure the season. The fan has to be first, and at the end of the day, the fans vote every day by deciding whether to listen to your telecast or watch us on television or buy tickets. And I got to be very careful here. This is a fragile ecosystem, and if ultimately the fans are saying, we're not going to pay for those games, or we're not going to watch those games where your players aren't playing.
All of these changes sound so drastic, so crazy that it's easy to just write them off. But Adam Silver is serious about these changes. He knows they'll take time and continuous tweaking to get just right. I get the sense that he feels this change is necessary. But of course, there are a few issues I personally see with these events and changes. If the worst team in the league is getting the worst seed into this one-and-done draft tournament, how are they possibly supposed to get better? They could very well just enter this vicious cycle of losing that finds them with the worst record, the worst seed into this tournament, and subsequently the 8th pick in the NBA draft if they keep losing year after year. But this is the NBA. If teams want to get better, players need to step up and fight their way up the ladder. Life and business is all about incentives, and giving the worst team in the league the best chance to the number 1 overall pick takes away some of that incentive. This is so much better than a damn ping pong ball. I've also heard concerns that great players on bad teams may not want to play in these tournaments, especially if they want out of these bad teams. For example, Anthony Davis may not want to play in an end-of-the-year tournament to earn New Orleans the first pick in the draft when he wants out of New Orleans. But if we are in a place with our sports where you have to force players to try, where players don't just want to win regardless of the circumstance, we aren't in a good place in sports. So what do you guys think of these league-altering changes? The midseason cup to replace All-Star Weekend and for possibly some sort of playoff advantage, an end-of-the-year tournament to decide which team gets what draft pick, and a season shortened to 70 games to help players manage their health and wellness better throughout the season. How much do NBA teams benefit from these changes? Well, that all depends. How much do fans benefit from these changes? Immensely. Each game holds a little bit more value, the season is shorter but sweeter, and we have 2, possibly 3 huge events to look forward to each season as opposed to just 1. We still get the classic playoffs while also getting an exciting, new, unpredictable one-and-done tournament in February and in June. It's crazy, but I'm willing to at least give it a try. While doing research for this video, I stumbled onto a lot of different clips. This one I'm about to show you was pretty funny. So, enjoy.
Today, they have a different focus, and they're also pulled in a lot more directions.
Guys did not play every night. Guys dogged it back then. Guys complained back then. The NBA players didn't start. Nobody in the NFL, the NBA, baseball started complaining in the last 10 years. Guys have been bitching for years in all sports. It's not new.